On the dark, quiet night of February 12, 1976, the promising light of a Hollywood star was extinguished in a brutal, senseless act of violence. Sal Mineo, the boyish actor who captivated a generation, was murdered just steps from his own front door. He was only 37 years old. The initial investigation spiraled into a storm of confusion and rumor, fueled by the secrets of Mineo's private life. But in the years leading up to that fatal night, a legend has grown that Mineo had begun to break Hollywood's sacred code of silence. It's whispered that he started to speak truths the studio system had spent decades burying, allegedly revealing the names of the iconic, Golden Age leading men he had loved in secret. These were explosive allegations, tales of clandestine affairs that threatened to shatter the carefully crafted images of some of Hollywood's biggest names. This is the story of Sal Mineo's hidden life, the powerful men he was connected to, and the tragic end that silenced him, but couldn't erase the secrets he allegedly left behind. The night was cool and still in West Hollywood. Sal Mineo was returning home from a play rehearsal, feeling optimistic about a project he hoped would reignite his career. He parked his car and walked through the alleyway behind his apartment building at 8569 Holloway Drive. Then, out of the darkness, a figure emerged. There was a struggle, a cry for help that pierced the night, and then, a chilling silence. Neighbors who rushed to help found Mineo staggering, clutching a single, fatal stab wound to his heart. He collapsed and died within minutes. As police swarmed the scene, a question hung heavy in the air, a question that went far beyond a simple robbery gone wrong. Was this a random act of violence, or was Sal Mineo silenced for what he knew, and for what some say he was beginning to talk about? To understand the tragedy of Sal Mineo's death, you have to understand the brilliant flash of his life. Born Salvatore Mineo Jr. in the Bronx to Sicilian immigrants, he was a kid with a spark. He had a raw, natural talent that was discovered early, taking him from the stage to the screen with incredible speed. By his teens, he was a massive star, nicknamed the Switchblade Kid for the tough, misunderstood characters he played so well. He became the face of a new generation, restless, sensitive, and simmering with quiet rebellion. His talent was undeniable, earning him 2 Academy Award nominations before he was even 22 years old. The first came when he was just 17, for his heartbreaking portrayal of the lonely teenager Plato in the 1955 classic, Rebel Without a Cause. It was a performance that cemented his place in Hollywood history. A few years later, he earned a second nomination for his role in the 1960 epic, Exodus. On the surface, Sal Mineo was living the dream. He had fame, acclaim, and at his peak, received up to 5,000 fan letters a week. But beneath the polished image of a Hollywood teen idol, Mineo was living a double life, torn between the public persona he was expected to be and the truth of his own identity, a truth that could destroy a career in that era. The set of Rebel Without a Cause was a pressure cooker of young talent, but for Sal Mineo, it was the place that would define his life. It was here he met James Dean, the brooding, mercurial star who would become a legend. The connection between them wasn't just professional, it was electric. They were kindred spirits, 2 sensitive young men in a town that often mistook vulnerability for weakness. Mineo idolized Dean. He was terrified of him one moment and desperate for his approval the next. Dean, in turn, took the younger actor under his wing. On screen, their chemistry was obvious. Mineo's character, Plato, is now widely considered one of the first implicitly gay characters in mainstream American cinema. His adoration for Dean's character, Jim Stark, was palpable. Mineo himself later confirmed that he intentionally played Plato as being in love with Jim, a revolutionary choice for the time, but the persistent question that has echoed for decades is whether that on-screen devotion mirrored a real-life romance. The rumors have never stopped. Director Nicholas Ray was bisexual, as was James Dean. The set was a complex web of relationships. Mineo and Dean were incredibly close, often speeding off together after a day of filming. Years later, when asked if he and Dean had been lovers, Mineo's answers were often coy. He once suggested that if he had understood his own feelings better back then, something more might have happened, but by the time he came to that realization, it was too late for him and Jimmy. The truth of any physical relationship remains a mystery, locked away by Dean's own tragic death just before the film's release. To fully grasp the weight of Sal Mineo's secrets, you have to understand the Hollywood he inhabited. The Golden Age was a glittering facade, built by studios that controlled every aspect of their stars' lives. Actors were bound by strict morals clauses, which dictated their public behavior and who they dated. For gay and bisexual actors, this system was a prison. Publicly, being gay was career suicide. A whiff of scandal, especially in a gossip magazine, could get an actor blacklisted overnight. This led to the era of the lavender marriage, where gay stars were strategically paired with female companions or entered into sham marriages to project a heterosexual image. Rock Hudson famously married his agent's secretary to conceal his life. It was a world of coded language, secret meetings, and constant fear. This was the world Sal Mineo had to navigate, where being authentic was a liability, and where a single secret could bring the entire illusion crashing down. As the years went on, especially in the more open but still risky 1970s, stories began to emerge about Sal Mineo's secret romances. Now, it's critical to be clear, these claims are largely based on sensational biographies, persistent rumors, and second-hand accounts, not on public confessions from Mineo himself. Still, the stories have endured for so long that they've become a part of his legend. The most explosive of these alleged affairs was with Paul Newman. According to the highly controversial biography Paul Newman, the man behind The Baby Blues by Darwin Porter, Mineo fell deeply for Newman while filming the 1956 movie Somebody Up There Likes Me. Porter claims that Mineo pursued Newman for years before they finally began a secret relationship. The book paints a picture of a passionate but tortured affair, alleging Mineo was crushed when Newman chose to maintain his public image as a family man. These are shocking allegations, fiercely disputed by Newman's family and friends, but they persist in Hollywood lore. Marlon Brando is another name linked to Mineo's secret history. Brando was famously candid later in life, stating in a 1976 interview that, like many men, he'd had homosexual experiences and was not ashamed. The same speculative biographies that detail the Newman affair claim Brando was part of the same secret circle, alleging dalliances with James Dean, Paul Newman, and Sal Mineo. While Brando denied a physical relationship with James Dean in his own memoir, the rumors connecting these men have created a tangled web of Hollywood mythology that continues to fascinate decades later. The list of alleged lovers doesn't stop there. Rumors and biographies have linked Mineo to other famous men, including actors Montgomery Clift and Anthony Perkins, both of whom led complicated, closeted lives. Another persistent claim involves teen idol Bobby Sherman. Biographer Michael Gregg Michaud alleges that Mineo's engagement to actress Jill Hayworth ended after she discovered him in bed with Sherman. Whether factual or embellished, these stories paint a picture of a hidden Hollywood where some of the biggest symbols of masculinity were sharing secret loves under the constant threat of exposure. While navigating this secret world, Sal Mineo maintained a public life that followed the Hollywood script. His most significant public relationship was with English actress Jill Hayworth, whom he met on the set of Exodus. They were a glamorous couple, and for several years, their on-and-off romance was genuine. They were even engaged. According to biographers, however, the engagement ended after Hayworth allegedly found Mineo with another man. Despite this, they remained incredibly close friends for the rest of his life. This relationship highlights the complex reality for many bisexual people of that era. Mineo's feelings for Hayworth were reportedly real, but they existed alongside his attractions to men. It was a reflection of his own identity in a world that demanded rigid labels. Later in his life, from 1970 until his death, Mineo was in a committed, 6-year relationship with a male actor named Courtney Burr III. This was his most stable and public same-sex partnership, known among their friends and in the industry. This relationship stood in stark contrast to the whispered rumors of his youth, representing a man who was gradually refusing to live entirely in the shadows. The great irony of Sal Mineo's life is that as he grew more comfortable with himself, Hollywood grew more uncomfortable with him. By the 1960s, he was in a professional no man's land. He was too old to play the teen rebels that made him famous, but growing rumors about his sexuality made him a perceived risk for leading man roles. The offers dried up. As Mineo himself put it, one minute it seemed I had more movie offers than I could handle, the next, no one wanted me. He was typecast, first as the Switchblade Kid, and then as a deranged criminal. He took supporting parts in major films like The Longest Day and The Greatest Story Ever Told, but his career devolved into a series of TV guest spots. In a telling sign of his career's trajectory, one of his last film roles was in Escape from the Planet of the Apes, hidden under heavy chimpanzee makeup, but Sal Mineo was a fighter. He returned to the theater, directing a controversial 1969 play, Fortune and Men's Eyes, which dealt with homosexuality in prison. It was a critical success. It was during this period, in a now famous 1972 interview with writer Bose Hadley, that Mineo became one of the first major actors of his generation to publicly discuss his bisexuality. Though the authenticity of some of Hadley's celebrity interviews has been disputed, the conversation with Mineo is widely cited as a moment of rare public courage. Just before his death, a real comeback seemed imminent. He was starring in the play *P.S. Your Cat is Dead*, earning rave reviews as a bisexual burglar. Tragically, it was the final page. The night Sal Mineo died, he was an artist on the cusp of a renaissance. His murder wasn't just a personal tragedy, it was the theft of a future that was finally looking bright. When police arrived at the scene behind 8567 Holloway Drive, they were initially baffled. Since money was found in Mineo's pockets, it seemed to contradict the theory of a simple robbery gone wrong. This lack of a clear motive opened the door to darker speculation. The investigation quickly turned to Mineo's personal life. Detectives searched his apartment, and the press, feeding on the homophobia of the era, ran with the narrative that the murder was sex-related. They drew parallels to the recent murder of Italian director Pier Paolo Pasolini, another openly gay figure. Was Mineo the victim of a lover's quarrel or a dangerous encounter? The rumors flew, tarnishing his memory and muddying the search for truth. For years, the case remained cold, a Hollywood mystery wrapped in prejudice. For over a year, the investigation went nowhere. Then, a break came from an unlikely source. Authorities in Michigan reported that an inmate named Lionel Ray Williams, jailed on unrelated charges, had been bragging to other prisoners about killing Sal Mineo. Williams, a pizza delivery man with a criminal record, later retracted his confession. But the lead was strengthened when his wife told police that Williams had come home on the night of the murder with blood on his shirt. However, there was one glaring problem with this theory. Eyewitnesses who caught a glimpse of the fleeing attacker described a white man. Lionel Ray Williams is a black man. This discrepancy has fueled questions about the case for decades. The prosecution tried to explain this away, arguing his appearance could have been misleading in the dark alley. In March 1979, Lionel Williams was convicted of the murder and sentenced to 51 years to life. He was paroled in the early 1990s and has always maintained his innocence. In recent years, Williams has participated in a documentary project titled Unseen Innocence and released a memoir to tell his side of the story and fight for exoneration. While the official record considers the case closed, the conflicting witness statements have left a lingering cloud of doubt for some. Sal Mineo's story is too often reduced to its violent end. He's remembered as Plato and as the victim of a brutal murder. But his legacy is so much richer. He was a trailblazer in an era that punished pioneers. He was a two-time Academy Award nominee whose incredible talent was sidelined not by a lack of skill, but by the prejudices of an industry afraid of his truth. He was an artist who refused to be erased. When Hollywood shut its doors, he kicked open the doors of the theater, reinventing himself as a director. In his life, He navigated a world of impossible contradictions: the proud Italian-American kid from the Bronx who refused to change his name, the public boyfriend to a beautiful actress, and the private lover to men. His acknowledgement of his bisexuality in the early 1970s was a quiet act of defiance that helped pave the way for future generations. The whispers of the names he allegedly loved, Dean, Newman, Brando, are more than just salacious gossip. They are echoes of a hidden history, a testament to a secret world of love and fear behind the silver screen. Sal Mineo deserves to be remembered not just for how he died, but for the brave, complicated, and authentic way he lived. If you found this look into the secret life of a Hollywood icon fascinating, please give this video a like and subscribe for more deep dives into the stories and scandals of Hollywood's golden age. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss a new video. Sal Mineo's life was a brilliant, fiery comet that streaked across the Hollywood sky. He was the embodiment of teenage angst for a generation, a sensitive soul in a leather jacket whose vulnerability was his greatest strength. He was a casualty of a system that demanded conformity and a talent too unique for the simple boxes Hollywood tried to put him in. The story of the names and secret lovers is a story about more than just alleged affairs. It's about the human cost of a closeted world and the quiet rebellion of living your truth. He was an actor, a director, and a pioneer. And though his life was cut tragically short, the light from his incredible talent and his quiet courage continues to shine.